I'll admit, I really love the bow in Wilds. Or should I call it ranged greatsword? Hello, my fellow hunters. Welcome today as we talk bow, and more specifically, the best bow build / armor set currently possible, doable, available in the game. I have really been enjoying bow, and I've always loved bow. It's always held this kind of soft spot in my hunter heart, you know, because it's bow, a classic bow and arrow. That's such a hunting tool. I was so excited when it got added way back in the day, but I can't deny, I really just couldn't click with it. But from the 5th gen onwards, it's felt so much better, and Wilds, in my humble opinion, is the best it's ever been. Baking coatings into the weapon and having this builder-spender flowing cycle alongside all of its new little tricks and just the most satisfying focus strike in the game. Okay, maybe seconds to dual blades. Jesus Christ, that's so cool. I really can't get enough of it. In fact, literally, the only 2 weapons I have played in Wilds is greatsword and bow. Everything else on my hunter card is completely blank, just as it should be. So I wanted to bring you guys then how to give the bow the most oomph you can give it, because it's actually struggling a little bit, at least compared to other weapons, if we're looking at sort of peak killing things fast time. Now don't get me wrong, it's by no means weak, and I think most importantly, it's just incredibly fun. Constantly discerning dodging every attack as you just rain arrows makes you feel absolutely unstoppable. Just, you know, nobody tell greatsword.
I know you love me, and I'll be here for you when you get back. Enjoy yourself. Go.
Do I have a problem? I feel like maybe I have a problem. So what's actually going on then with bow? Here we are then in the training room, and while this is, you know, a build guide, not a weapon guide, I think it is important to lay a little bit of the groundwork. Essentially, the way to bow currently for your min-max DPS is to just never use tracer arrow really, because it's just not worth the time to fire it. If you're accurate with your shots and you're good at maintaining your charge levels from your dashes, then it kind of doesn't do enough for you, which may be a shame, but I kinda don't mind it. And essentially, your ideal DPS loop kinda just looks like this. Consistently maintain your coating, consistently maintain your critical distance when the cursor is orange, and then you're gonna get to level 3, and you want to get in as many double spread power shot into power volleys as possible. So you dash, hit, power shot, power volley, you dash, hit, power shot, power volley, and occasionally, if you do get room on a particularly long boy, a dragon piercer is not a bad idea when it's a quick one at the end of your combo. And that's kind of it. You spend all of your bar on just making sure you permanently have combos, you're discerning dodging through in attacks to trigger various skills we'll talk about, and it's just kind of smoothly along like that. The one thing that I do want to mention is you'll see in the arkveld hunt I'm using Pierce, and that's because Pierce, while on average not quite as good as power or close range, power giving 30% extra damage, close range 40% extra damage, close range is actually phenomenal in Wilds. Against arkveld, you can hit him twice if you fire through him and then his chain blades, so it's a really nice little bit of tech to kill him. And honestly, in my testing, Pierce really hasn't been that bad. It's actually a lot of fun to use as well, and it does pretty good against your long boys, but really coating kind of doesn't matter, because our weapon choice matters, and you may guess where this is going. Our weapons are going to decide our coatings for us. And on that note, what bows are we actually using? And obviously the focus strike is absolutely cracked on bow, so we'll be using that tactically throughout the fight too, to get downs, do high bursts of damage, stop the monster leaving. It really is quite fantastic, and it does kind of make you want to lean a little bit part breakery if you can get it for free. Well, you may not be surprised to find out, like most things, it's your Artian. Now, Bow is a big lover of element, but not as strictly as it has been in previous games. You want to then, ideally, have an Artian for each element, and you want it to be full attack infused, and therefore, well, as high a raw as you can get it. We don't need the affinity, we have a lot of it on the set, and affinity just has less value than the attack. But we still want to make sure we've got a triple element match, so we have as much base element on the weapon as possible. And when it comes to your reinforcement bonuses, ideally you want to hit attack 5 times. Arguably attack 4 times and affinity once, but generally that's the way. And you might be like, whoa, why not just full 5 element hit, right? Get as much element as possible, pump it, this is Bow we're talking about. Well, the thing is, and you'll see this later when we talk about burst, element is good, don't get me wrong. It's better to have an element bow of each element and to take the element bow that the monster you're hunting is most weak to. It's better than status. But elemental hit zones in wilds on monsters are actually quite low. A lot of them are just bad. You're getting a lot more value out of pumping your raw relative to the damage the monster takes than you are pumping your element. So while element adds a lot, it's not the primary source for a lot of weapons, and indeed, Bow in a lot of cases for pumping your damage. So we actually just kinda want to get that raw increase, which is quite an interesting situation to be in. And it's very much kind of warping at the moment, as everyone kind of finds that right balance between element and raw across the weapons. In any case, though, 1 Artian for each element, where you hit ideally 4-5 attack, and the last one can be affinity if it needs to be. So every single Artian bow then has its own coating. It's not random each time. So for example, if we make a fire bow, you will see that the coating is close range. If we make a water bow, you'll see the coating is close range. If we make a thunder bow, it is power coating. And then dragon is power, and then lastly, your ice is your pierce. Now, pierce, as I said, is really good against Arkveld and a couple other monsters, but ice is the one Artian bow where you might not want to be using it because of the pierce coating. In which case, Hirabami will do you well, though I really would recommend just playing with the pierce ice Artian because it is a lot of fun. So now we come to the actual set then, and it is as follows. We want the gore magala waist and legs, both beta. We want the guardian arkveld helm and gloves, both beta. And lastly, your regular arkveld chest, again beta. This will give us, alongside the exploiter 2 charm, which you also want, a lovely base of 5 weakness exploit, bit of constitution, which we love. That's 1 rank of flayer, which is very nice and value, 1 rank of Partbreaker, which is really solid, as the bow's focus strike is really solid, and the startings of antivirus. So once we get this all decorated up, we end up with this. Weakness exploit, of course, was already at 5, and 5 really is the sweet spot for weakness exploit. The final point is by far the most valuable. We finish constitution with 4 physique 1 slot jewels, which makes our stamina consumption really easy to manage as we dash around the monster, discerning, dodging everything. And then we use the 2 slots on 2 ranks of stamina surge to again take the edge off when it comes to never running out of stamina, which honestly you really just don't, and it feels great. The rest of it then in our 3 slots, so we put in 3 burst decorations to just give us level 3 burst. We put in a single counterattack deco, which is for 1 rank of adrenaline rush, as 1 rank of adrenaline rush is plus 10 raw. That is really incredible value. You will be discerning dodging and attack once every 30 seconds, which means this is just permanent plus 10 raw for a single decoration slot, which is unbelievably good and super worth it. Then the rest of it goes into 2 Sangels to finish off antivirus to level 3. This then gives us a really nice rounded set of skills. You've got the 1 Flayer and Partbreaker for that lovely value combination, the 10 raw from Adrenaline Rush. You've got a load of affinity, 50 from weakness exploit, 25 from antivirus for 75, up to 80 if you have the minimum on your Artian, so that's really tasty. And then we we have burst. Now, burst is interesting and probably the thing you're most maybe confused on. See, while element is great and we do want to support it, as I was saying, raw is still so valuable due to monster hit zones that we don't want to completely ignore it either. And basically, in a world where we could have 3 Wex 5 burst or 5 burst 3 Wex, well, this way round is better. 3 burst is the nice sweet spot where we get a good chunk of raw. The most raw value out of burst is simply from 1 rank, but the big chunk of element from having rank 3 is also really nice. It's kind of that lovely middle ground. Don't get me wrong, if we had 2 more 3 slots out of nowhere, it'd be the next skill we finish, but even relative to the 1 adrenaline rush, having 1 rank of that for 10 raw is better than a 4th rank of burst. So that kind of tells you the value here. It's good, but it's not like the end of the world to not have it. There are more valuable skills to be found in this combination. That said, if you are super keen on maxing burst, if that's something you want, I will show you a full burst version in a moment. Moving on then to the weapons, where you want to have 3 critical boost. It's a solid enough damage increase with the affinity that we have that it is worth getting 3 of it for a nice 3-slot usage. Then you want to have spread shots for spread power shots. A lot of our damage, like a lot, comes from your spread shots, so this is a nice bump to them. And then very specifically, ideally, you want to have the element attack up of choice, depending on which bow you're using, and then pair that with ballistics. And as we move to the dragon bow version, I have it paired with bandolier for a rank of tetrad shot. I kind of like ballistics because it makes things a little bit more comfortable range-wise, but a single rank of tetrad shot on your element combo is going to give you the highest DPS potential. And if you are wanting the math for the set, this is what you're looking at least for the raw side of things. Then you've got all the element on top of that, which adds a metric ton, and finally little pops from flayer, the part breaker gets involved, and so on and so forth. Basically, we end up in a really, really good position here. Then if, as I said, you really are attached to burst and you disagree with me about the point of flayer, the point of adrenaline rush, the part breaker being better than the final 2 ranks of burst, and I will just give you this set, which incorporates the full burst. Especially with flayer being kind of weird, maybe broken at the moment, this might not be a bad call, and you can even replace 1 rank of burst in that 3 slot with 1 rank of adrenaline rush for plus 10 raw. This does have that 3rd stamina surge, so it's slightly more comfortable if you do prefer it, so it is something to consider, and I just want you to have all the options available to you. And there's even a 3rd option for you if you want to more go all in on raw with an extra rank of adrenaline rush and also gain the full ranks of stamina surge. Then you can put on the Zuwu helm and slot that stamina surge in. You gain the 2 adrenaline rush from the helm, and then you replace the adrenaline rush deco with another burst to get back to that sweet spot of rank 3. Whichever way you go, it's all super close and it can come down to personal preference, but these are the sets that are doing the best for the bow people everywhere, and I hope you enjoy it. There is technically, well, look, there's a way to play bow that's really exciting that I want to look into, and look, I don't want to get ahead of myself now, but just as a kind of standard, here you go, normal sort of playstyle element bow, yeah, these are the ones. So there we have it, everybody. That is your current best healthy element raw mix that are currently giving bow its highest output and its fastest clear times. That said, the meta is ever evolving, and as I say, I really do love this weapon. Not quite as much as Greatsword, but definitely way above the other 12, and I will keep you up to date as things are discovered. In fact, I do already think I might have something that outdoes this, but it's quite drastic, and it's something I want to be really sure on before I present it. This is your safest, best standard bowage. So until next time, I hope you've enjoyed this. Like if you did, subscribe for more, consider supporting the future of the channel on Patreon down below, and until we meet again, a goodbye.
Josh, Cotton, and Hollow with the videos, dropping the humor like a hammer on your tippy toes, bringing entertainment on a daily arrangement to take our insanity and turn it into entertainment. Yes, I said entertainment twice, to reiterate that it is nice to look into your faces on a mostly daily basis when you let us in your homes to make the whole world a stage. Goodbye.